Texas Math Mundo audience. Today I have a different sort of video in store for my audience. Today I want to impart my knowledge to beginning teachers. There are a lot of new teachers going to start the year, and I want to share with them the wisdom that I've obtained throughout the years. I am the current Teacher of the Year at Pasadena High School in Texas, near Houston, and I am entering my 25th year this year, so I think I've gotten a nugget of truth, a nugget of wisdom there, and I'd like to impart this wisdom to you. But this video is going to be very different. It's going to not be politically correct. This is meant to be practical and real, giving you real advice that you can use, practical advice, the sort of advice and wisdom that is often neglected in books because it's not politically correct. All right, so let me take a brief moment and pause and ask that if you enjoy this content, that you please hit the subscription button and the notification bell, that you leave a comment below, and that you smash that like button. Let's spread this joy, let's spread this beauty to as many people as possible. My name is Saul Cantu, and this is Texas Math Mundo. Alright, so my advice, I'm going to give you advice on 5 areas. First, the first day of school. Second, discipline. Third, grades. Fourth, time management. And the fifth is a secret, but the most important advice I have for you, and watch to the end of the video to catch it. Each one of these topics is the subject of days of professional development, days of in-service. So I'm just going to give a brief treatment of these topics. But again, I'm going to give you a politically incorrect treatment. I'm going to tell you the brutal truth, the practical know-how that often people do not give new teachers because it just doesn't sound right or it's not politically correct. So you got often 2 types of people that you encounter. You got, like when I was young, I had this wily old veteran, very politically incorrect, the kind of guy they tell you to avoid in the teacher's lounge. But he gave me truth, he gave me wisdom, he gave me practical knowledge of how to maneuver in the educational system. Then you got the politically correct crowd. They're always going to say the right thing. Often administrators protecting their jobs, making sure they're saying the politically correct thing, but not really giving you the insight you need, the practical knowledge to deal with the variety of circumstances you're going to encounter in our classrooms. There's a dual nature to our classrooms. You know, the classroom is a place where knowledge is imparted. That's a moment of grace. That's a moment of beauty. Of course, the classroom is often a beautiful and wonderful place. But the classroom can also be a primal place where the base elements of human nature manifest themselves. You know, you got an individual who's educated with a whole bunch of teenagers in the high school level, and oftentimes the more primal elements, the most base elements of human nature start to manifest themselves. How are you going to deal with that? I'm going to give you a Machiavellian perspective. I had to read The Prince by Machiavelli like 10 times when I was in college. And what he says is that it's better to be feared than loved. It's best to be both. But given a choice, it's better to be feared. And so not that I want fear to dominate, but you got to be able to deal with the practical realities of today's classroom. Now please note, new teachers across the United States, across the world, are going to encounter such a wide array, a wide variety of educational environments. So maybe my advice will not translate exactly across all educational environments. Some environments are, you know, affluent suburbs, elite schools of choice. Other environments can be, you know, very low socioeconomic areas with broken homes often. Students who do not have a value for education. So there's a wide variety of educational environments that are going to be encountered. I've mostly been in the tougher neighborhoods, so my advice more toward that. But the truth is that there's some commonalities across all educational environments. You still have an educated adult, you still have teenagers in a classroom, it can still get primal. So we're going to look at the Machiavellian sort of perspective, some practical, true, brutal truths of the classroom. Right ahead, right ahead. All right, without further ado, my first topic is the first day or the first moments that you're in class. So When I was in college, I studied some chaos theory and ordinary differential equations. I read the book by James Clyde, Chaos Theory. What chaos theory says is that slight differences in initial conditions can lead to drastically different results. And the popular example is like the butterfly flapping its wings in South America. Little perturbations of air can create a typhoon in Asia. But the point is that little slight differences in initial conditions can create drastically different results. Well, the first day, the way you treat that first moment, the first seconds of the first day can lead to drastically different results in your year. I've seen teachers be miserable the entire year because they handled that first day wrong. And to exacerbate problems, to make things worse, the first day is often filled with like first day procedure stuff. Hopefully they go to homeroom and you waste a lot of time there. And then you go to the classes that the students you're actually going to teach come to you. And so that's when you want to have an impact. I know it's the first day. Many teachers are, have a very lovey-dovey sort of approach. How was your summer? How are you doing? Pay attention to emotional effects. I would not do that. What I would do is I would hit them strong. Shock and awe. Shock and awe. Start teaching. Start establishing a work ethic from the moment go. The first moment, the first day of class, they are not organized yet. They haven't created alliances yet. If you speak strong, you speak with authority, when you say, move off my back row, they will comply because it's the first day of school. They're uncertain of themselves at that point. They haven't made friends. So it's a whole new environment. At that precise moment, you exert the most power. You should speak with authority, speak strongly, establish a work ethic, and then you can worry about the emotional component later. But the first few moments are so vital. So I say, speak strong. If I would give homework the first day, give homework and then call home the next day if they don't do it. That's what you want to do. Shock and awe. There are people going to disagree with me. Disagree with me on the notes below. Let me know what you think. That's first day. Second topic, discipline. This one can be a tough one. The reality is that perception is reality. The administrators, if you never send any of your discipline problems to administrators, then they perceive you're doing just fine. The truth is, administrators don't want to deal with your discipline issues. They got full jobs. They have a heavy load in front of them. So it's just taking away time from them if they're having to deal with your discipline issues. But, and also to make things worse, is that today's students really don't have the fear that, say, like my parent, I remember speaking to my father, he said that they were scared of their teachers. In my generation, they gave you pops, right? So fear was a component. And I'm not saying that fear should be a component, but maybe slightly. I'm going to show you how. And in-school suspension, that's not scaring anybody. Our kids are not scared of in-school suspension. Half the time they're allowed to have their phone in there. Even if they take away the phones, they're just not scared of in-school suspension. So what do you do to get them to comply, to respect you, to be disciplined? So here's the answer. You have to call home. Your one hope is they do fear or they do have respect for the people who pay the bills. But that brings a whole load of problems. I know I've gone to the computer, looked up a kid who's not behaving, not letting me teach, being rude, being loud, being distracting, and I go to the computer and I call 5 numbers. Every single one of them is wrong. So the way to approach this first, when you're going to call home, the first thing you do is tell them, take out your phone, call your house. Hopefully they do it. If they don't do it, then you have to go to the computer. But because often a parent is much more likely to answer a phone call from their own child. So have them use their phone to call home and they'll answer it and then you can speak to them. Otherwise, go to the computer and look. Now let's say the computer doesn't have any right information and they won't call home. So where are you? So here's what I always do. I tell them, listen, the school needs to be able to contact your parents for emergency purposes. We'll send the cops out there to do an address check. If you're not living there, they'll kick you out. So I will talk to your parents. So you have to be confident and bold at every step of the way, because otherwise they will try to run your classroom. They will try to run you. So discipline. Again, if a kid is truly incorrigible, there's no way that they're disrespecting you, making your life miserable, of course, send them to the office, let the administrators deal with it. But by and large, they don't want to deal with your discipline issues. By and large, you should be handling your discipline issues on your own, and that can be extremely tough, extremely difficult to do as a new teacher, to assert yourself in that way. So, call home. That's your one big hope. All right, discipline. So first we had the first day, shock and awe, hit them hard at the very first few moments. Second was discipline. Call home. That's your one home. Oh, one other thing about calling home. This is where the fear sets in. Invite the parent to sit next to their kid if they continue with their bad behavior. That'll put the fear of God in there. They might talk, oh, I don't care, he can come. Believe me, the last thing they want to do, especially teenagers, is have their parent come to school, sit next to them. So always have that, as part of your threat is, if you're not behaving, I'm going to call your mom. I'm going to invite her to sit right here next to you. Do you want that? That's often a level of fear that they'll say, okay, I'm sorry. Anyways, if you're lucky, otherwise do use administrators. Third, grades. Many years, first 10 years of my teaching career, I would sit paralyzed wondering what to do about grades. Grades can be one of the most difficult. I would be in an emotional dilemma about grades. And here's why. I would encounter myself teaching a pre-cal class and nobody in the class even knew arithmetic. What are you supposed to do with that? How do you do this? And the deal is, that wily old veteran that I was friends with when I was young, he told me this. He said, listen, you fail too many kids, guess who they're going to blame? Guess who they're going to blame? So it becomes very difficult to maneuver grades. Furthermore, if we look at high stakes testing, in Texas we have the STAR exam. What happens is the kids take that exam, those exams go to the state, then the state dictates what's a good score, what's not a bad score, what's passing, what's not. If it's truly criteria based, why doesn't the state tell you beforehand what they need to score? They don't do that because it could spell catastrophe. You could have so many kids failing, which is the last thing that they want to have done. So what they're going to do is they're going to wait and then draw the line somewhere appropriate so most kids are passing. That the state does that on their high stakes testing. We all know that grade inflation is an issue. People are getting grades that are not indicative of their true substantive ability in a class. And then of course you have parents thinking their kids are very, very smart, and often they are, but they're scrutinizing grades sometimes. So you're in a very difficult place. This is a minefield. Grades is a minefield. What do you do? So first of all, let me say something about grades. If you give a kid a good grade, the kid's happy, who cares? The administrators are happy because their passing rates are good, and the parents are clueless. If you give the kid a bad grade, here's what happens. Kid's unhappy, but again, who cares? Administrators are unhappy because now their passing rates, and that's part of their school's report card and it reflects on them, their passing rates are being impacted. And then parents are wondering what's going on when they really should be thanking you for finally informing them of how unsubstantive his academic progress had been previously. But you're going to get a world of heat. It just happens to be the path of least resistance to give them good grades. Now, I'm not saying just give grades away, but you're going to have to be flexible here. Look at growth, how much growth they've done. Do the best you can to make sure to award students who are trying, but be careful about that failing rate, because you will be deemed the problem. It's so easy to say, well, just remediate. We'll meet them with, when you got 150, 175 kids, you know how hard it is to meet every single kid's needs? It's darn near impossible. So if you start failing kids, be careful, especially special education kids that have modifications. I'd just be very careful. Make sure those modifications are being met if you're going to fail them. This is a minefield, guys. Grades is a minefield. So I will just say, be careful. My one thing is don't fail too many of them. You will be deemed as the problem. That's what the old wily veteran told me. And I'm just letting you know that there's some wisdom to his words towards me, and I'm grateful he told me. Another thing I often ask myself about grades, if you fail too many kids, ask yourself this. Are you going to do more good in the system, or are you going to do more good outside the system? I personally want to be in the system, trying to do the best I can for every student every day. All right? So grades, be careful about failure rates. All right, finally, fourth, time management. Time management, that's a big one for a new teacher. Quite frankly, you will not have enough time to do your job. There simply is not enough time to do your job. Grading alone will take up more time than you have. Not to mention constructing meaningful, inspiring lessons. Of course, you want to take advantage of any material the district gives you. The content specialist or the school specialist can help you. but the truth is you're not going to have time to do your job. You're going to have to cut corners. Find out how to use technology to get some quick grades in, because sometimes you need to get some quick grades in. But here's what I will say about time. Find the time for the things that drive you, that give you passion, that give you fun. I enjoy competitive mathematics, so I like doing the Mu Alpha Theta Club. I like doing competitive mathematics. I enjoy it because that part of the job is not work to me. It's just fun, and it actually helps me deal with the other parts of the job. They're not as fun and much more difficult. So I would find time to share your passion with the kids. If you're into literature, start a club or join an existing club where you can actually just have fun and share your passion with kids. Make time for that. You're simply not going to have enough time to do your job, so you're going to have to cut corners, but make time for the things you love. So let's recap. First day, first moments, chaos theory, shock and awe, establish a work ethic, hit them hard the first moments. Second, discipline. Administrators don't want to be dealing with your discipline issues. Your one hope is to call home, and hopefully they fear the people who pay the bills. Third, grades. That's a big minefield. You're going to encounter some situations where the kids just don't have the knowledge, and if you fail too many, you'll be in trouble. So beware of failure rates. Fourth, time. You're simply not going to have enough of it, but do find time for the things you're passionate about. My final piece of advice as you enter the year, new teachers, is to exude confidence. There's a saying, fake it till you make it. The truth is you've got to exude confidence every step of the way. We all know what happens to the teacher that's hesitant, maybe even too nice. They get stepped on by students. The students start losing respect. So always exude confidence. It's a given that you pass the test if you know the content of what you're teaching. So start there. Teach with confidence. Share your knowledge and passion with confidence, and be bold and strong in your way with the students. Exude confidence at all costs, because once students smell weakness, it can be all over and it'll be tough. You're going to have to wait for a whole new year to reinvent yourself again, and then try to exude confidence here. So exude confidence is my number one piece of advice for new teachers. So that's my advice, guys. I think I said a lot of things that are perhaps not politically correct. I'm sure many of you disagree with my advice. Please put your disagreement in the comments below. I won't be insulted. I'm entering my 25th year. Let me have it. What am I still doing in the classroom with that attitude? Let me have it. Tell me what you think in the comments below. You have a million different people in education with a million different opinions. Share yours in the comment below. Let me take a quick moment and ask that if you enjoy this content, that you please hit the subscription button and the notification bell, that you leave a comment below, and that you smash that like button. Let's spread this joy, let's spread this beauty to as many people as possible. My name is Saul Cantu. I will say, please, good luck to the new teachers. Best of luck. If you need to reach out to me, it's going to be everybody has your own journey. It's going to be challenging. That first year is always challenging. But that first year will end, and you'll get a chance to reinvent yourself the following year, and you'll get your own knowledge. You'll get your own perspective and wisdom about the situation you encounter. So best of luck, new teachers. My name is Saul Cantu. This is Tex Math Mundo. Farewell, guys. Farewell.